Time is running out, and only 3 matches are left in the split. Hello and welcome to Week 8 of VCT Americas, coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. Dash here with a full desk today. Once again, it's Sean, Garris, Mimi, and the guards of Valen hopping back on the desk for us. We had a couple banger matchups yesterday as all of our teams continue their push for the postseason and jockey for ideal positioning. Let's talk about what happened yesterday on the stage. It was do or die for Sentinels. They needed a win against Furia for a shot at playoffs, and they did the most Sentinels thing that they could do.
I guess I was winning.
They did get the win.
They haven't done much of that thus far. So
yeah, I guess returning to...
I was going to say, what is it, win and then have the other team make playoffs?
Well,
yeah,
I think in a sense, yes, right? Like they got the win as not as dominant a fashion they would have liked, because a 2-0 map score would have helped them a little bit more when it comes to their playoff chances. But either way, they did at least get the win, and then fate was passed on to somebody else to deal with.
This is something that you can kind of have some hope now heading into LCQ. It seems like Sentinels have a roster where there are things to build upon. Well, it's a new squad. There were moments where they looked pretty good. They had clear game plans. The coordination was solid, and you saw how strong the player quality was on all these players.
Yeah, I think in the last couple weeks of, these matches for Sentinels, what you noticed was the roster worked. They were able to do a lot of things previously that they were struggling with. The problem is there wasn't enough time. They were up against the clock, and a lot of these teams have deep playbooks, and they couldn't get the 2-0. But winning the series on the maps they truly practiced on is a good thing to take home for next split.
Yeah, for sure. I think they showed that they have a lot of promise in the future split. The team is looking pretty good, but I also think they could be going through a little bit of a revitalizing moment, maybe a little bit of a honeymoon just because they got rid of the IGL. It kind of brings in all the players together to pitch in, have a good effort to make a good attack and good defense. So oftentimes, if people are feeling it, you can just come up with like insane strategy on the fly. And they would only benefit from having a deeper playbook.
Yeah. Right, so at the end of the day, Sentinels did get it done for themselves, but they required others to get the wins. It was Evil Geniuses who needed a win over NRG in our second matchup of the day. But NRG continued their dominant run here at the end of the split, Mimi, 2-0 fashion for the victory yesterday.
EG probably had the most fans rooting for them in this game because the entirety of Sentinels was behind them to try and keep them in playoffs contention. But unfortunately for both that team and for EG, they could not get it done. Energy came out and looked fantastic. They got their bind, which we know they're just going to win at. Whenever you give them this map, the playbook continues to get deeper with this Harbor Viper composition. And when we swap things over to split, there was moments where EG could have taken something down, but it came down to these late round clutch situations in the first half that NRG was winning, and then just an incredible defensive side from Victor in particular.
Victor is incredible. He's literally the sole reason.
It's actually so crazy. Yeah, the end from Victor, like the last 3 rounds to close it out, just unreal. This
4K, 3K clutch, back to back. The guy's insane.
They were 1-3.
Ridiculous.
5 straight to be 6-3, take the 3 seed into playoffs. That's actually insane. And if Sentinels won 2-0, they would have made playoffs.
That's a good point.
Because NRG won 2-0. That was their condition.
Yeah, and as well, it's insane that they only dropped a single map during that entire rally to end the season as strong as they did. It is ridiculous, but we still have one spot to play.
I was going to say, and overall, NRG is changing kind of the narrative around whether or not the league is top-heavy and who really is the best team in the league right now. You've got your eyes set on Loud, Cloud9, and NRG, who all look like formidable opponents. 100 Thieves currently occupies that 4th slot, though they still have a game to play here in the final week of play. Evil Genius is the only other team that has a shot at making it into that top 6. We have our 2 regularly scheduled matches today, though, of Cloud9 versus KRU and Loud versus Leviathan. That's a battle at the top. It's a battle for first place. So just because teams are locked doesn't mean there isn't anything to play for here, Mimi.
Yeah, that it is. For Cloud9 today, the only way that they can actually get away with first seed is if Loud loses. So they are being the ultimate hater today, just preying on their downfall. They also, of course, have to win their game over KRU to get that one done. But for Loud, if KRU wins or if they win, it's just an easy lock on first seed.
Yeah, I think to understand the true meaning behind today, you have to see the bracket ahead, right? The 1 and 2 seeds are locked. They're going to get buys in the playoffs, right? So Cloud9 and Loud, they're going to get buys. But the 3 seed, you do not want to be on the same side of the bracket as NRG, and that's the 2 seed, right? So if you're the 2 seed, NRG's second game could be against you, and you'll need to win 1 game from the upper bracket to get to Tokyo.
Yeah.
These matches today really do matter for these teams.
Relative strength of the rest of the league is so important when it comes to those bracket stages. Now, I don't know how this day is going to shake out, but one thing is for sure, Plussies will take to the stage today. We spoke with Aspas, King, and other players about the trend. We asked them to tell us more about their fluffy friends.
Então, basicamente, tudo começou na Champions. Eu trouxe esse daqui do Brasil, que a minha namorada me deu. Aí eu levei os dois pra Champions. E aí eu levei um pro primeiro jogo. Aí a gente ganhou, eu pensei, pode ser um símbolo de sorte. No caso, acho que tem uns 2 que não tem nome ainda, mas o novo tem nome já ganhou o nome de Luna. Tem cara de Luna, é um bom nome. Aí a gente tem aqui Luna, Doguinho e Hilton.
El peluche que tengo en el stage es un regalo de mi novia y se llama Oko, el peluche. Y siempre lo llevo para que siempre esté conmigo. Es como del viaje que estoy acá ya hace 2 meses casi, que estoy acá en Los Ángeles. Siempre lo traje en todos los matches, menos el primero que me olvidé, perdón. Esa es la historia, me lo regaló mi novia para que tenga algo de ella dentro del stage. Y eso.
Bueno, primero su nombre es Tulio y nada, o sea, me lo regaló una persona muy importante que es como mi novia, que fue en Argentina. Compramos un huevo Kinder y dentro venía un regalito. Y ahí fue donde un nombre y le pusimos Tulio, que es como también un personaje como para niños de un programa chileno. Entonces le pusimos Tulio, que es muy chistoso también el personaje.
Bueno, este peluche de gatito me lo regaló mi novia, se llama Tuki. Hasta en el juego también me puse Tuki. Me lo regaló cuando estuve jugando en Loquín, donde estuve pasando un mal momento personal también. Y nada, esto me hizo, cada vez que lo llevo en el partido me hace recordar que está conmigo, además de en el stage de llevarlo y mostrarlo. Es una muestra de que está conmigo cuando estoy jugando y eso, que la quiero mucho y la amo. Nada, y también lo dejo mirando siempre para mi lado, al gatito a veces cuando no está la cámara de un cierto lado, intento como dejarlo ahí porque se cae, pero bueno, sí, lo dejo como que me mira a mí, al gato.
The name of my stuffed animal, it's gonna sound weird, it's Nivancho. My girlfriend gave it to me when we were back at Chile. She said, hey, like almost every pro player that has a girlfriend, it has a stuffed animal, so you need one too. And I said, okay. So it's a gift from my girlfriend and it means a lot to me. I feel a little part of her, like really close to me.
Well, lots of love across the VCT then when it comes to the players and their stuffed animals out on stage. Now, I think everyone here on the desk, though, can say that they know a lot about Valorant. Am I right? Am I right? Mimi, you think you know a lot about Valorant?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Decent about, yeah.
I like to think you guys know a lot about Valorant. Okay, so let's play Map Memory. The game is simple. Can you draw a mini-map from memory? We stare at it all day. We play hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of the game. It shouldn't be that hard, right?
It's going to be that hard.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Telestrator as our canvas, and each person will take to the Telestrator and draw one map. Now, they do not know ahead of time what map they're going to try to draw. If we can get the screen changed here, what you'll see is a little red box. That's their only indicator of the scale of the map. They're going to freehand draw for 1 minute, the map that I tell them to draw, and then we will reveal the actual mini-map to see how close they are. Take note, those of you at home, because you'll be voting on who does it best. Mimi, you're up first. How confident you feeling?
0 out of 10.
0% confident. That's what I like to hear. Only
Not
up
ready.
from here. Your map will be a cent.
Okay, that feels reasonable. Am I
1 minute on the clock. Ready, go!
Okay, we need to start by drawing attacker-sided spawn. I think I'm doing this upside down. Don't really
You are
care.
doing it
that
upside
is
down.
very big
That should
for
be
attacker
CT.
spawn.
That should be,
Maybe.
Yeah,
okay,
that should be
sure. Well,
defense.
it's now defensive-sided spawn.
Perfect.
That's totally fine. Where is the B site? It's like here. This is going to be the back section.
Out of
This
bounds.
is going to be Speedway.
Out of
We're going to
bounds.
draw here. We're going to do this. And then we need to draw like market. So that's the little section that juts out. That's not a line that should be there, but that's fine. This is
That could be logs.
This
Yeah.
is where you span. There's a little box here. We go like back and around,
Okay,
and this
yeah.
is spawn. Let's just try and get the general
You got about
shape, 'cause I'm
20
running out of
20
time.
seconds
So
left.
This is A. We go here. This is wine. We go down.
A main, I like it. Okay.
There. We do
15
this.
seconds to go.
Okay, that's fine.
Struggling for the A side here.
Wait,
10.
how does there's a
9.
hole here, and then this
Where
is
are we
mid,
planting?
where it goes up. We go here.
4.
Wall here. Heaven
3.
here.
2.
This is a wall.
1. Hands off the board.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty impressive.
Hands off the
good.
board. Everybody, please take
Okay.
in all of its glory.
I mean, I got
Heaven
like
was
the
clutch.
general shape. It's a little
Mimi's
screwed up in there.
Ascent.
That's all right.
I want to know how the map changes, how executes change on this version of the map versus the real version.
Yeah. I'm gonna have you pull that up in Valid Plan.
Right?
That spawn rotation.
Yeah, it's a map about mid control. There's no longer a mid.
So, Sean, you think she did pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I think she did great.
All right, let's get the reveal. Let's find out how close Mimi actually was.
The scale is
I mean,
pretty
who let her
terrible.
cook? Who let her
Scale
cook?
is going to be the most difficult part of this whole game. Now, again, general map shape, though, pretty
Well, okay,
damn
you have to
good.
forgive me because this is supposed to be attacker-sided spawn. So really,
Yeah.
if this is attacker-sided spawn, then
No,
this
we're not
Right,
forgiving
so
you.
invert it, right?
Well,
and
no,
we're good to
but then
go.
it's even worse if it's inverted.
Okay. Out of 10, how do you feel like you did?
I give myself a 1. That's a
1.
point up from what
All
I
right.
expected.
Well, you were 0% confident. To come away with a 1 is
mind
definitely
that. Don't mind
something
that.
nice. Who's up next? Prompter will tell me. It's Sean. Sean, you're up next. Get over here, my friend.
Pass
Oh
this
God,
to
if
you, good
Alex
sir.
did me dirty with like a 3-site
You're
map.
gonna have,
or
you're
like,
gonna have like loads
Oh no,
of
she
maps.
did you dirtier. Did you
Oh,
just
I
see
saw
it?
it, I saw it.
You just saw it. Okay,
it's
yeah,
not
it's
fair.
Yeah, well, it's not a 3-site map. Okay, so
It has
Sean's
layers on top of each other. How do I-
Sean's map is going to be Fracture. Oh baby, Fracture. 1 minute on the clock. You ready, Sean?
No.
Here we go.
Okay, so this is like defender spawn in the middle.
Yep.
And then we have to
It's
go.
chopped from.
Remember, you got 1 minute.
Dish is gonna be like up here somewhere. A site over here somewhere. We got main, a little bit of a turn here. Going this way, out, main.
Oh, I like it. He even got the bay window aspect of
God.
A main in
There's
there.
like a box here.
Yep.
And door.
Door.
And then
Perfect.
It's already half on time.
I'm
Sand, remember, yeah, a minute. You got to move quick.
Actually cooked.
It's not that bad.
It's not bad.
Getting there.
There you go. It's sort of sand. Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I don't even know.
We need rope
need
up
rope.
to. I'm kind of helping, I guess.
Oh,
I shouldn't
don't
do
cheat.
that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't cheat.
Some kind of
Okay.
an underpass.
Okay, there's a B main.
Oh, there we go.
Underpass isn't on the map like that.
Detour. Sorry, 10 you got 10 seconds, by the way. 9, 8, 7,
Draw the rope.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There it is. Hands off the board. How do you feel like you did with
God,
Fracture?
dude. What is happening?
I feel like you had I think starting from the middle was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Right? And I actually think it did set you up well to kind of build out.
It's Fracture. I don't know how to. They don't even have a defender spawn.
Let's get the reveal. Let's find out how close Sean actually was here on Fracture.
that's not terrible.
Okay.
Were you the map designer? That looks perfect.
Yeah. It's just like I can't tell the difference, right? It's the blueprints. Yeah, we're losing some detail, you know? But outside of that, general shape is pretty good.
Honestly, I like my Fracture more than the other one. Maybe we need an update.
Okay.
I agree.
I like it. Out of 10, what do you rate yourself?
What did you say?
She said 1.
I said 1.
I
After
feel like
being
I have
0
to like price this up like what? I'm gonna go 2.
2? All right. I like it. We're improving. We're improving.
You
Let's
putting
get Val
pressure on
from
me. I have to get a 3.
Valen's over here now.
Oh no.
I mean, look, you're the pro player.
No, don't say that.
No,
Don't say that.
You've
No,
put
you
more
can't say
hours
that.
into
You
this
can't
game than
say
anyone here on this set right now. So I don't want any excuses out of you, my
That's
friend.
very embarrassing.
Pressure is on. Your map is going to be split. You
That's
feel
easy.
like you got that one locked in?
I feel like that's the freest one.
Yeah, that's
Feel good?
Yeah, that's very
can't
free.
mess
All right, 1 minute on the clock. Valen, ready, go.
It's very free.
I think we need to grade you
All right,
harder because you got an easier map.
On.
Okay.
It goes. And main kind of goes up. There's like
He's already
little
cut out a
box
lot
right
of
here.
space at the bottom for
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
Yeah, he's really cooking with the size here.
Oh wait, that's. I could have made this bigger.
Yeah, it's all
All
right.
good. It's all good.
15
That's
seconds
the
down,
ramp
nothing
up.
yet.
Oh, that was terrible. Boom. Heaven.
Oh,
That's A? Why is
Oh,
A?
Okay, got it.
And
oh, this is
spawn.
Yep.
What?
Dude, you started in the middle. This has to be over here.
He is cooking.
Stairs.
Dude,
I'm cooking.
Your teammates are not listening to
Whoa,
anything
whoa.
you're saying after they see this.
see, dude, this is going to be a
Marking
great meme
into
template
mid.
in the future.
Wait, mid? Like in A heaven.
And then
What?
Yo, this guy plays B.
Oh, that's mid. Is that mid?
that's mid, and then that's
Okay.
vent, and then you go to here, and then
Yeah.
there's a rope.
That's
Great.
is awful small.
All right, and then you get B main here,
What are we witnessing?
and then
6 seconds, by the way. Oh, 3, 2, 1.
That looks like a Pokemon
I love the panic finish for everybody with the final 10 seconds of panic finish. All right, Valen, what do you think?
I mean, I think I got it. Besides A, I think that's pretty accurate.
Right, out of 10?
Probably like a 2.5.
Easy 2.5 at the very least, right? Okay, what about you guys? What do you think?
You know, but besides getting A wrong and B wrong, defense
and mid wrong and
mid
not even
wrong,
including
everything else
defender
is really
spawn.
good.
Yeah.
It has a
so
curly
much.
tail on. What is the curly tail about?
No, that's
I like
the site,
that.
bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a harbor wall that they just spiraled in on itself a whole bunch of times. Now it is time to pick a winner. But we're going to turn that responsibility over to you. Oh, we didn't get the reveal first.
Look at that.
Sorry,
Look at
I think we knew it was so
Look at
not
me.
accurate that I didn't need to do the reveal. Look at this. You left out this whole side of the
Listen,
screen.
each side is
Okay,
in
let me
mid.
fix it.
Oh, whoops, I'm drunk.
Wait, no. Whoa.
All right. Now it is time to pick a winner, and we're going to turn that responsibility over to you, the audience. Who drew the best map? That is the question. Mimi, Sean, or Valen? Scan the QR code on screen. Cast your vote now. Your vote matters because there are stakes here, all right? I don't really want to reveal what the stakes are. Just know that there is something attached to this, and your vote will help determine who is the winner of this all. Now, make sure to use the hashtag VCT Americas and VCT so we can feature you on the broadcast a little later on. Cool, we got that all cleared out. We're going to a quick break, and then we'll have a deep dive on Cloud9 versus KRU. VCT Americas continues right after this.
This guy instantly deleted the evidence.
Hey, I know, right?
We need Dash in here.
Welcome back to VCT Americas. It's time to break down our first match of the day. It's Cloud9 versus KRU. We'll start on the Cloud9 side of things. On the surface, it's easy to say this matchup isn't that critical because Cloud9, they've already locked the number 2 seed at the very least, but a win here and a loud loss means that the number 1 seed becomes theirs. So again, stakes still there here for Cloud9 in the final match of the regular split.
They are still here for Cloud9, and looking at the run this team has had thus far, you would expect them to win this game pretty dominantly. Last week in particular, another opponent that they went up again in Leviathan, who we thought, hey, this is going to be maybe a closer match. Lev has looked pretty good throughout the season, and Cloud9 came in with excellent preparation and won the series so dominantly. Their Lotus continues to just look like the best in the league.
It's not even like they're grinding these wins out. They're just blowing teams out. And that's what makes this so amazing for Cloud9. They're a team that, honestly, we had low expectations for coming into this, and they have surpassed everyone's expectation at this point. I don't think anyone expected the form that we've seen out of them. And for their last match today, I mean, how could you possibly go against them here today?
Yeah, and even in these dominant wins, even when they're dominantly winning, they're still showing us new things, trying new things each and every week. On this Haven, it was a switch for Zelsis over to the Breach, a change there. On their Lotus, well, it was the same comp. It was adding new things, changing where they're throwing the Viper Wall sometimes to make that B site weaker, having specific things to counter out some of Leviathan's set plays. They're always expanding. They're always bringing out new stuff, even though they're winning so dominantly.
Yeah, and under the coaching staff of MCE and Cooper, I know that the players are very comfortable in any open situation. Like, I feel like they're very good on the fly. They can adapt to new comps, new situations, and always feel pretty comfortable just because their knowledge of the game is at a very high level. So you can throw them into any situation, and because of the coaching staff teaching the game at a macro level, they understand, oh, everything applies the same on this map as in this map, and that's why no matter what the comp is or no matter who they're playing, they know how to adapt, and that's why they're so dominant right now.
Yeah, the prep is there. It results in the dominance. But to better understand it, I'm going to hand things over to Sean, who's going to work through some of that brilliance that we've seen on display from Cloud9.
Yeah, man, this was an insane round from last week on Lotus. It's a round where actually Cloud9 looked vulnerable, right? If you look at the mini-map here at the start, they're just doing a standard setup, right? 3 people playing long, nothing crazy going on here. They're gonna end up pushing through. And I'm gonna just draw a note real quick. Viper is actually all the way at C right now, okay? But a pick happens on this B site. So Leviathan is now in a 5-on-4 scenario, and they're gonna wait for a push right now. Cloud9 reacts by triple grouping here at long, and they're gonna go for some info, right? They're gonna push here, they trade the kill, but now is what I wanna draw attention to. Look at where Rooney is on this mini-map. Look where everyone is on the map. Both Cloud9 players are at long A. Rooney's over here front B, started at C actually. But watch Cloud9's pathing now as they go all the way around the map. Now, the reason why this is pretty cool is because they're essentially giving themselves a win condition at B, a win condition at C, and if the other team goes A, they're gonna triple flank A. It is actually very, very creative how Cloud9 approaches this. I don't think I've seen a team do this in a mid-round. And you can see Rooney waiting there at B, waiting, and the second the 2 players get close enough, they group up. And when they group up here at long, they're ready to peek. They realize that a player is coming out, and Leviathan, they have no idea all this is happening. So they're just doing a post plant. They're coming back into long, and they're running into everyone. And that puts Rooney in this one-on-one all of a sudden. He hunts down the last player, and Rooney, who is continuing to have an amazing series, closes out this round. It's just so insane that they thought of that on the fly in the mid-round in that game. And there's no way Leviathan was ready for that play.
Yeah, they're always ready for the next step. I think that's a huge reason why Cloud9 is so successful, is that they are always beating teams to step 2, step 3, step 4. Their on-the-fly calling is so fast that the other team can't even react in time. They just did an A push, and now there's 3 people on C, so if you were to react there, you lose. And then they know that they should group up in the mid-round, flank A, and they ended up winning. It was a great round.
And what's incredible is the proactivity on their defensive sides without ever looking like they're overheating or someone's over-pushing. In that one, it's the re-push into B, realizing it's a heavy setup towards A. Then it's the re-push out C long. They're always looking for that gap and are constantly exploiting it, constantly updating their positioning, which I feel like so few teams do as well as they do.
I mean, it's so smart because they're pushing aggressively through long A. So imagine as an attacker how much time and sound you would have to make to take all of that back by the time you get to the site. They know that. They're also running a neon, so they could run all the way around the map before you can get there, and then they can also flank you, and you won't be ready for it because it'll take you too long.
And they do all of that a man down from the word go, right? Zelsis, who was holding down B, gets picked immediately. And speaking of Zelsis, leader for the team, I want to get your opinion on him a little bit more, and specifically his play on champions outside of the KJ, right? KJ, great. We know that exists for Zelsis, but let's talk about things like when he hops to an initiator like Breach.
Yeah, I mean, he gets to show off his supportive mind on the Breach role. I think he's a very good individual player. Everyone knows that, but he's also great at setting up his teammates, setting up Leaf, or even setting up his supporting staff to be able to get the kills. And not only that, he's also like his self-flashing and on retakes and how he's taking map control with his flashes, getting picks. He's just a very self-sufficient player, like right here using his utility. I mean, he's a great player to watch. He's very adaptable and flexible, and that's what you need in a team like Cloud9, someone who can swap to any roles for the team, especially having 2 new guys. You want to keep them comfortable, right? So this Zelsis will pick up all the hard rolls, do a lot of mid-rounding for the team, and just set his boys up for success.
I mean, that clutch that he found on Bridge is so impressive because it's an agent that just last week he was playing on Killjoy on that map, swaps over, and just has this innate understanding, hey, I can bait them to push through, then stun back and retake the fight. He's so good as an individual. But also, as you talked about, Dash, the leadership is there too. He's talked a lot about that with a younger team, with a lot of really new players on this squad. He's the guy that, well, he's not doing the whole in-game leading role. He's that emotional leader. He's keeping the vibes up. When they're having a rough game, he's the guy building back into things, keeping them energized, which is so important for any team.
He is always he's always supporting the team, right? And if he's alive in the late round, he's one of those players that can secure rounds for Cloud9. He has the experience. He knows how to play the one-on-ones, the two-on-twos. He knows how to make those micro comms. And I think that's his strongest characteristic.
Yeah, not only in the 2v2s or the 1v1s, he's also very good when you're man up. 4v3, 4v2, he's telling his team, yo, chill out. Play the round out. Let them make the play. Don't overpeak. Let them come into sight. He's that great emotional leader for the team for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, what a privilege it is for Cloud9 to have him on the roster, considering those young players that they have alongside them. Let's move on to KRU, though, now. Week 3, admittedly, I was huffing the Croupium pretty hard, and I really thought they could put together a win. They almost won last week versus Sentinels. In all honesty, they've almost won a lot of the matches that they've played, and for their final match, Nagzet is back. That is the first piece of news that we have to talk about, replacing the sub Xedi. We've got Nagzet back. He is a core, a staple for this team, Mimi, and that's just kind of where I go right off the rip, is for your final match of the regular split, to get him back in the lineup, at the very least, has to be a feels good.
I think it will feel good for them. But the thing is that this KRU roster throughout the season has been kind of a revolving door. It's first Davies out, then Ashedi in, then Nags goes out, and Ashedi stays in. Now you plop in another player. They're just constantly having to change up this roster across the last 5 weeks. And it makes their story all the more heartbreaking because every one of those games has been so damn close. And against Sentinels last week was no exception.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like all these changes that you guys are talking about, and they're still getting close. The Sentinels game, like you said, 14-12, 13-10. It feels like, I mean, the Leviathan week, that was a little rough. I don't know how Leviathan just destroyed them like that.
Nah, that never happened.
That never happened. But I feel like all of other KRU's performances have really impressed me, actually, throughout this entire season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got data to back it up, right? Again, this is part of what my case was all the way back in week 3 when I was huffing that Croupium. I was talking about in their losses, they play the closest losses, right? Their map differentials in those losses are ultra tight. And if you actually take a look at this leaderboard here, a close map is something that's considered 3 rounds. You can see there at the top, within 3 rounds. So they have had, in total, 12 close maps, but 10 losses, meaning they've lost 10 maps by 3 rounds or less. That's razor-thin margins, where the next closest in terms of losses is EG at 6, but that's 2 series right there.
Yeah, that's
2 series between you even.
That's so heartbreaking for KRU. It makes you wonder, what if they had that consistent lineup going in from week 1 all the way to week 8? Could they have maybe closed these maps out with the experience of the roster, knowing how everyone plays? I mean, obviously the team has been around for a while, so they have the experience together, but nothing's worse than having one of your boys get missed out for a week and subbing another guy, and it's like, man, when does this stop? I just want a consistent lineup.
Well, hopefully it stops today, right? Hopefully they get the win on the board, close it out, and then they can hit the offseason with a little bit of momentum behind them and refresh towards summer. Let's talk about Davies, though, who was out with an injury back last week. The roster's starting to look strong once again.
He looked incredible last week. He was the strongest individual performer for this team against Sentinels. He was doing a great job as the site anchor and also winning out a lot of these late round clutch situations. But now coming into this week, I have this question about roles, because when Ashedi was subbing into this roster, they were switching stuff around. Davies started as like a flash initiator, sometimes raise player, and he's mined the Sentinel the last 2 weeks, which just looked so darn good. And I'm wondering if they're going to switch Nags back onto this role in this week. Does he even get the consistency of the same role?
Yeah, that's a good question, because, Nags was playing that Sentinel role before, and you would imagine him going back into that Davies slotting into, like the KO, Raze, like you're mentioning right there. I like Davey on those initiator roles, so it'll be interesting to see Nags switch roles. More than anything, does he function on the other roles?
Yeah, now just before the teams take to the stage and we get some of those answers, earlier in the show, the desk took turns drawing maps from memory, and we asked you to vote for the best one. The results are in, and you picked, let's see it.
Please say me.
Please.
Please. place?
Please.
Oh,
Mimi!
okay.
The slight edge Valen, unfortunately, comes in last place, which means you will be doing a post-game with blackout goggles on your face. Don't worry, that'll make sense when we get there. It's time for us to get the day started here. It's the penultimate day of the regular split. The number 1 seed is on the line. It's Cloud9 versus KRU. Loud versus Leviathan. VCT America starts right now. This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha, Zé, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos, Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e leva!
Bueno, el OTC obviamente es importante porque va a ser, va a definir si conseguimos tener los playoffs o no. Es controlado uno de los equipos más fuertes de las Américas.
Almost no time left. Crashes has to clutch.
O Twist precisa de mais uma troca, mais Victor do outro lado, Sadak.
É um jogo que provavelmente se a gente ganhar a gente vai garantir nosso primeiro lugar. Sinceramente, eu acho que eles são um time que tem uma ótima team play.
King gets the third on the round.
Siga avançando, siga avançando, siga avançando, siga avançando.
Any team with like Kesnet and Melzer on it is just going to be kind of explosive, and I think that we'll be able to shut them down. I mean, even if we don't, then we're still top 2, so all good.
Taco still up in heaven. Wow. Never made his way out. King is finding more value. Pulls off and Rudy gets the 1v1.
Creo que le podemos ganar, digamos que hemos practicado contra ellos, sabemos cómo juegan. En esta liga creo que se puede dar cualquier cosa.
There's Order Strike. Just
He tried to throw it into the vent right there. We don't know.
He gets 3 and now an upgraded weapon. Davies with 4 on the round as KRU get another.
One of the day getting underway. It's Cloud9 playing for first seed. It's KRU looking to end their season on a high note.
For KRU, they are winless thus far, and while they can't really get anything out of the win today, what they can have is a chance to build confidence, to play with their real roster that they will be going into LCQ with. So there is still stuff to play for them. But on the side of Cloud9, getting first seed, it's out of your hands. You need Loud to lose. That's unlikely. But winning here still secures 8-1 in the season and gives you an opportunity to maybe have that first seed if there is an upset.
Yeah, and at the very least, you don't want to stumble right before you hit the postseason, right? Like, if anything, when it comes to momentum and morale for Cloud9, don't let this be a trap game.
Yeah, I think Valorant in general is a game of high confidence, and you got to be good as a team. So for them, they definitely want this win, just like anyone would. And I know MCE is definitely pushing their guys to the limits every day in practice. Just because it's crew doesn't mean anything to these guys. They take every team seriously. We even saw in the MCE tweet, but look at them laughing over there. They're having a great time, getting ready for the match. I mean, you'd love to see it.
Yeah, you can't afford to lose this game if you're Cloud9 just for the mental sake, right? Losing to the winless team going into playoffs on your mental, you're gonna get memed on all week. You don't want that. You don't want that going into playoffs.
Yeah. Now, Mimi, Cloud9, as we mentioned earlier, has dropped very few maps over the course of this whole split to begin with. But to that end, two to Loud, 1 to NRG. Where do you attack, if anything, if you're crew? Or what do you prioritize, at least in terms of securing for yourself when it comes to the map vetoes?
For crew at this point, I almost feel like it's just going back to comfort. Cloud9 has a really strong pool. I don't think you're going to get a map that's a gimme. For crew thus far this season, their biggest strength, I think, has been their ascent. They pick into it pretty much every time. It's the map where they have flipped a few wins, even over teams that have on paper been much stronger than them. But Cloud9 also have an incredible ascent.
Yeah, I actually think crew should stray from the scrappier maps where variance is actually higher. I think they actually have a better chance on like the old school maps, like Mimi saying, like Ascent.
Even maybe, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even a Bind. Like I don't see them winning on, like Fracture, for example, or even Pearl, which is C9 banned.
Well, good news. I was gonna say good news for them. They don't have to play on either. As we see Pearl and Fracture exit the pool, it's Cloud9 who gets the first pick, and they're going to Lotus. I don't think that's gonna surprise many people.
Yeah, you have this really hard decision if you're crew. You either ban Fracture, which you've banned pretty much every game and you're not great at, and you leave Lotus open, which Cloud9 is absolutely excellent at, or you ban out the Lotus, you leave the Fracture, which Cloud9 also excellent at, and you don't really play. It's just a tough veto.
And I want to talk about their Lotus just a little bit because it's so hard to play against Cloud9's Lotus because Leaf is always on the rotate. Sometimes he's going to stun A main, stuff your entry, and then instantly rotate back to C like Sean was talking about before. So it's really hard. Sometimes you're going to run into Leaf's traps at A, sometimes he'll be at C. You really don't know where this guy is until it is too late, and that's why it's so hard to play against.
Well, y'all are calling all the shots. It's Heineken 0.0 Ascent to be the second map there, and the decider will be split, Mimi, if we're lucky enough to get to 3 maps.
Yeah, we talked about how crew is quite good at this Ascent map. They play the default comp that everyone does, but Cloud9 innovates here. They play this double controller comp with the Viper, but they don't play the Sentinelist variation. Instead, they have this solo initiator Sky, which only they've been running and works so well for them. You have so many options with that Viper on the retake to condition mid-control, and they get by quite well with that solo initiator, as they do in many maps.
And I feel like if you're Cloud9 here, you have to expect that Ascent pick coming out of crew, right? That's where they've had most of their success, and they are very good on the map.
All right.
So there's a lot of prep coming in, but to Lotus we go first.
Compositions, big curiosity for me. We've got a lot of data on Cloud9. Obviously, Neon's, or Leaf's Neon. I was gonna say Neon's Leaf. I guess they're one and the same, Gets locked in pretty quickly there. But more curiosity on the side of crew, who is gonna lunge for that Harbor.
Yeah, and to talk about the Harbor, that agent gets you so much map control on the attack using the Cascade at Mound at C, using your Cascade at A. You can even fake B pressure with that one wall early. You get a lot of map control, but it is a struggle on defense.
The issue I see is that this is a comp that's going to be really reliant on mid-rounding on this attacking side. You don't have that same pop value as some of the more default comps, and versus Cloud9, they are the best at finding the defense side of rotations, at stalling out your executes with the Neon stuns. If you get stalled out, you don't have many tools to re-hit in this comp.
It's a powerhouse pick here for Cloud9 in Lotus. Crew looking to get the upset complete. We're all set for map number 1. Let's send it over to your casters who are still recovering from yesterday's Sentinels Furia Marathon. It's Brennan's Sideshow.
Fully recovered, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
fully recovered.
definitely.
Had a couple of hours as well.
I wish we were seeing Bind again, though, in this match.
Do you?
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
You said yesterday, and I quote in the green room, I never want to see Bind again.
It was a lot of Bind. It was a lot of Bind. But I'm ready and I'm refreshed. I'm ready. No. I'm ready, I'm refreshed, and I'm just excited for some more Valorant. I'm looking forward to this game, because I feel like it's just going to show us why Cloud9 have been playing some of the best Valorant that we've seen in the Americas region.
I agree.
And I think some of the best Valorant that you can watch all across the world currently. And they still got something to play for, like the Des was talking about. Cloud9, if they get a win here, there is still a slim chance that they would get the first seed and dodge NRG.
That's what they're playing for. Big implications if they end up winning it potentially. Obviously, later match that's going to be played today is going to be playing a part in this one. But
look at
the one and done angle. You got to clear this. You got to clear this. But look at the patience that's being played, and there's kills. Okay, they flood through. There's going to be that response. Melza doesn't get away with too much more. Jake also pushing it out, and this is confidence boundless from Cloud9 off the rip. Maybe a little bit too much so. One singular leaf. One step too far because Davies has been opened up and offered an opportunity. Spikes drop down though. Tick, tick, tick with the alarm bot. We'll see. Jiggle with the movements. 2 bullets, not enough to get it done.
Great try.
So damn close. Yeah, nice try by Davies, but it is Cloud9 who take that first pistol round.
If he picks up a frenzy there that has more bullets in it, he's won the 1v3.
Yeah.
And a fabulous 1v3 it would have been. Alas, not the world that we live in, as Jake collects. And Cloud9, they looked very solid there on the pistol round up until the final moments from Davies, but they very quickly dealt with what KRU were going for in B, and a very sneaky play by Zelsis too.
Let's go.
When last we saw KRU on this map, it was a scrappy engagement against Sentinels, very back and forth. Also, KRU really struggled to really throw Sentinels off the scent. Whenever they went into an area, it was getting red. And I fear that the same is going to happen here, especially against Leaf. He's so active on the map, gets a ton of information, and he just always seems to be in the right place. He's already kind of read the B pressure, moving over towards C. Anywhere KRU go, Leaf is going to be there, watching, waiting.
Yeah, it's one of the big benefits you get when you play the Neon on this map.
She runs very fast.
Yep, exactly. She can sprint. None of the agents can.
Yeah.
Over the Neon. So she can rotate very effectively, even though the map is quite large. Very aggressive angle by Jake to be holding that one, but he gets his head ripped off in return. It's Kesnet. Maybe a bit of an opening, but again, it's quite a lot to traverse. Even if you get that opening kill towards there, you can't really scale very quickly off of that.
40 seconds, and yes, you're right. They're going to have to play slowly, but they've given Kesnet a Vandal. And that is a massive tool for him to be able to use.
Yeah.
Even if this just becomes damaging, you take some of the sting out of it for next round from Cloud9.
It's worth noting as well, Kesnet. He gets going early with the confidence. It's a dangerous player to really hand the rifle over to. Grouped up now, the high tide flashes through, doesn't actually connect, but Davies is there. Sheriff in his hands. A watchful eye of his teammates, guarding his back, stun. Dropped to the feet, dodged for now, but still they're going to be swarming the position. Zelsis helping them out. Kesnet's still alive. Dash is active though. Be fading any minute now. Bit of a spray down, drop to 30 health. This is dangerous, and this is looking more than dangerous. It's bloody well won. That's KRU on a thrifty, light investments, but wonderful openings, getting that plant down, and Cloud9 a bit of a fumble there when it comes to trying to retake.
I mean, some great shots here, though.
Fantastic shots.
Davies not just with the Ghost in the first round, but also hitting a Sheriff shot. You know, Nags with 2 towards the end as well, coming back into this roster and helping them convert that. You also saw Kesnet get the first kill with the Sheriff. He's always going to be at the front. He's taking so many of this team's first fights. 38% of their first kills come from Kesnet. Ridiculous.
Deep now, Cascade.
Kesnet also has the most first deaths in Americas.
He's very all in.
We won't talk about that part while he's doing well.
It reminds me of myself.
Feast or famine in the first 10 seconds of the round.
Yeah, I mean, I like to play Jet like that as well. It's the most fun way to play.
I think he thinks so.
2 players grouped up here. You can see Jake and Zeppa. Now, worth noting, despite the fact that Cloud9 did lose that and they're knocked down to the thrifty, said it before many times, but they are one of the best teams at converting when they're on the weaker guns. Stun comes through.
Usually
be aware
with the stingers, though, isn't it?
Yeah, usually with the stingers, but maybe they can get a bit more done potentially. There is that one kill, but eventually as the Viper Orb does go down, Jake's position revealed. And so control of A main again, slowed down to a bit of a crawl, but as the Viper Wall goes down, that's going to be on cooldown, and it gives that opportunity now for KRU to start to move up.
The door opened, and Zelsis in a bit of trouble.
Yeah,
Calls for the Viper wall to come up and makes a play.
Right click.
Just right clicks Nags, and now he's got a Bulldog.
He's got an upgrade.
And these are the kind of plays that allow Cloud9 to win these with some level of regularity. That is going to force the lockdown out of Davies too. 3 Vandals against a Spectre, a Sheriff, and a Bulldog.
Davies getting this one as well. Round 3 is absurd. I didn't even realize. But it does buy them that bit of extra time, and Leaf, well, he tries to get out of there. Tried to be covered as well. That was Celsius holding the angle so that Leaf couldn't be punished. But a cleanup left up to Rooney. He's a demon with the Sheriff, but this might be a little bit too much for him to take on. Indeed it is. So, KRU taking a lead early on in this map. Showcasing as well that anything can happen in the Americas, despite the on-paper expectations. Cloud9 looking like the best team in the Americas. KRU currently winless and hunting for that first one.
And KRU have had a lot of close games. They've had tons of these matches go to 3. They've had their chances at upsetting even the teams right at the top. The game against Loud was close, but they are still winless. You know, they've managed to get it close a lot, but in terms of getting it across the line, this team has just consistently failed to do so. And they would love a win here. It wouldn't do anything for their playoff hopes. They do a lot for their mental, though, I think. You don't want to join DFM in the winless club at the end of the season.
Just had that last bit of shred of pride. Gave it your all in the split. You came out with at least a result, 1 win still. Off angle by Nags, that's cleared.
The read on the game is just superb from Leaf.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just walking into Nags there, but the pre-aim is perfect. Here come the Seekers.
Trying to pop through. There's a flash that does connect there, and again, you can see Cascade ripping forwards, buying a bit of that space as well, pushing back anyone who might be looking to defend this one.
Everyone on C9's here, though, ready to flood.
Yeah, they've already rotated. The plan's going to start to go down. This is a big opportunity because it means they can take fights when they should be favored. Davies with 3, ripping them through, spraying it down. Zephyr, he tries to return the fire, and he does indeed, leaving it to the one-on-one. Jake versus Klaus. The tap of the spike. Klaus left, guessing where is his opponent.
Another tap.
And Jake just cold, isn't it? Ice cold. Letting it out now, playing the time. Plant stuck though, gets it into that post-plant position, situation, comes down to it, doesn't it? First shot landing for Klaus. And an adjustment of the aim. It looked like he wasn't even aiming in that area. That's just reactions.
Well played to close things out there, but it's Davies that I'm looking at. He used a lockdown just recently, and he's almost got his 2nd lockdown online by the time round 5 comes.
Show me this 3-piece that he gets here. Oh my
That is so clean. The crosshair placement is beautiful onto the 3rd kill as well. The player that's up on the high ground.
Yeah.
And the slightly wider swing the first time just throws off the aim of the Cloud9 player.
Lovely movement.
This is a attack timeout coming very early on for Cloud9. And of course, Leaf was saying it in an interview piece that we saw from him earlier. If they lose this, they've still got top 2 locked up. And top 2 is the most important seeding that you can get in the Americas League because you win 1 match and you through to Tokyo in the playoffs, right? So they're still feeling comfortable, even if they lose this game. But at the same time, they are expected to be wiping the floor here with KRU, to be honest with you.
It's expected to be dominant. I mean, the desk was touching on the fact as well that, you know, in scenarios like this, when it doesn't seem like there is much to play for, even though in this circumstance, listen, if they win this, puts them in a better position to get that #1 seed in the playoffs, which is a big deal. You still don't want to be dropping momentum. You can't really, you know, take your foot off the gas in the final game here of the split.
You know, some teams have that approach where they like to take their foot off the gas because they don't reveal as much for the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen that kind of approach, I think, from DRX and Loud as we head towards the end of the season. But MCE as a coach has never been like that.
No.
He's always been wanting the best from his team and always been wanting them to keep that momentum going. So you're right. Yeah, I would be very surprised if this team took their foot off the pedal. At the moment, it just feels like very good individual play from KRU in these moments, especially from Davies.
Yeah, they're on fire. And Davies, God, 2 away from the lockdown. Still, got to be cautious. And Cloud9, look at this read from them. I mean, it's just been contact plays, but Cloud9 opting into a stack onto the A side.
Here.
Stingers, Sheriffs, Celtics with the lockdown. Lots of potential for this to go wrong for KRU if they choose to commit. And it looks like they are just doing that. Wasn't really a poke and prod for the information. And Kesnet will fall. First one in. First one to fall. The pivot breaking the door now. Gotta be careful with this one. They don't know the B's cleared. It's gonna be that U-tilt. Turret at least to spot that contact. Trailblazer clearing through most of this one, but they should be able to get this plant down.
But look how quickly Zelsis and Jake rotated all the way through spawn. And they put down the lockdown instantly.
Yeah.
Just stopping them.
And which direction do you go now? On a swivel, 34 seconds left. All the time just being broken down here, and they know that they're being corralled into the seaside. It's just Cloud9 hot on the trail, hunting them out, sniffing them out, flash through. Find a bit of space into the back of the site. There's a return on the fire. Davey still lands it. And there's a lockdown. Another one in play. Why not? Zebedo still moving forward to the help of his team. Damage being done. David spraying it through. It's up to Nags. And the lockdown's not broken. The lockdown's not broken. It's just about time. Few seconds left. 6 on the board. Spike not retrievable. He needs to kill to win it. Nags it knows it. He's hunting. He's running. Baruni makes the percentage play.
And that's such a classic Cloud9 Thrifty round coming through. The 2 with Sheriffs, the 3 with Stingers, and everywhere the crew went, Cloud9 knew what was happening. The Cloud9 players are like sheepdogs. They are out there herding crew around the map, and they're one step ahead at all times. The lockdown to funnel, the stack on A funnels them into B. The lockdown funnels them into C. And you've got players on site before crew are even there. The read is excellent, the play from Zebedo. And frankly, Davies still did an amazing job at keeping that one close. By finding that initial kill, I think he got 2 in the round, and putting a lockdown in, he made it winnable for his squad. Just not quite enough.
I think even more credit as well to Cloud9. They've said in interviews in the past, you know, what makes them so good at the Thrifty rounds, what makes them so good at the ecos, and it's because they treat them with as much seriousness as a lot of the rounds where they're buying guns. You know, they're really going into it not expecting it to be a throwaway round. You could kind of see that in the way that they were setting up there as well. There's a small thing, but Zelsis had his setup with the turret and then the nanoswarm in a common plan position to buy even more time. And that's that foresight where they're thinking, okay, we'll go for the A stack, stack it with bodies, push them back, but if they go into B, we have time to delay them. They're ready for it. They're thinking ahead like that.
Yeah. It's a very smart team, and I think another part that sometimes gets glossed over is how coordinated this squad is in terms of their trading. And when you're all running with the Stingers, that trading actually becomes even more important and in sync. Because they descend upon the crew players like a swarm. Still though, crew in the lead. And Cloud9 have only won rounds off the pistol and the Thrifty. So gun rounds yet to be finding any value for this Cloud9 squad. Triple push up here over towards Mound as they take some control of this part of the map early on. They're fine to allow crew into A because that's where Zelsis is holding.
With their setup.
Having said that though, Bren, the crew players are close to a lot of big ultimates. Is this punishable?
I mean, a stun connects, but
nearly.
Can't quite get onto the angle. It's just too much distance.
So 1 away from major ultimates, and that was Melzer. So he was 1 away from his Reckoning. They went and farmed the A orb. They've got that online, and that could be very helpful for them. Either to get into the A site and ensure they get a plant down, or to play the post plant. However, we saw this a lot in the crew game against Sentinels. They make a ton of noise on one area of the map, and then they don't go anywhere. And crew are just kind of slow and indecisive at this point.
Yeah, and it's Cloud9 who are the complete opposite. Look at this, a decision to push through into mid. Davies watches though, and collects. Nanoswarm to try and prevent the punish, but it's a wide swing. Jake does return that fire, pushing forwards. Kesnet landing it, the Reckoning to try and clear through onto that B side a little bit prior, but 30 seconds left. Spike needs to be planted.
And this was a decent bait out of crew, although Jake's picked up the lurker. And Celsius through the smoke.
Yeah, not quite favored there as well when you're jumping up onto Heaven. Cove blocking that site for now to 2 versus 3. And this flank timing coming all the way around. Kesnet, he sniffed a portion of it out and he lands the shot. Great movement, dash. Now online. Chooses to enable it now, but he's low. Has to go for the heal here. Still, both players are going to be noted, at least. There's a spray down. 1 for the 1, Kesnet. 4 in a round, and he wins it out for crew.
That's where you see the trademark Kesnet aggression coming through perfectly. He goes for the swing there way before most players would. And he's trying to time it with Zelsis getting that first fake tap on the spike. Just works perfectly. The timing exactly there. I'll tell you what, Cloud9 are giving away a lot of a lot of potential picks of these peeks through. So the first one from Leaf, and then also from Zeppa there, going through the smoke before Rooney did. Just looking slightly less coordinated today than we've seen from them previously. And it's offering these openings where the crew players are capitalizing on it. Here's a big clash potentially to start the round over at B. They've spotted Leaf.
Oh, the diligence. No, not enough. They don't span it all the way. Leaf, though, he takes the peak, he takes the angle, and takes the fight, but loses. And it is those Frenzy, Sheriffs, Classics, whatever. The pistols being used by Cloud9. Crew, as long as they slow this down and play with a bit of discipline, should be able to contain. Big ults online as well that they can start to work towards. Probably not going to be necessary to use them in this round, though. 50 seconds left. Now, the point you brought up earlier as well, Josh, about how slow crew tend to play a lot of these beginnings of the rounds without taking too much control. I end up biting him. We'll find out, though. Seekers will be used. Push them back through the side. How is Zelsis getting that with a classic? And they're just being locked out right now. I mean, just really bogged down, trying to wait their way in. Cloud9 have already been given all the information to stack in. There's the Cove. Safe plant available for them, though. Util pushing round. That's vulnerable that Melzer. He'll fall. Viper's Pit now has to be committed, and this could be disastrous for crew right now. Committing all these ultimates against the Eco, it is really quite dangerous. Where's the post-plant positioning? Davies has got to do the most from this angle because he is one of that final line of defense, but wow! Ranger's control of the rifle. Rooney with 2.
He got a collat with the
What? And now an opening, a window, an opportunity. Turret spotting that contact. Rooney trying to bait it low enough, and Rooney wins it. That's just miraculous. How are you pulling that through?
I feel for Davies. I really do. That's the second thrifty clutch that we've seen from Cloud9. They've won the pistol round and 2 thrifties at this point. It's just getting silly.
Yeah.
It's just silly. And the fact that Rooney gets it with somehow a collat, I believe inside the Viper's Pit, with a Sheriff, he just lines 2 heads up. No idea how.
Bizarre.
That's the kind of miraculous nonsense that we sometimes see from them.
I mean, for crew, that is just ridiculous.
What is that?
Yeah, it's like light work. Intended.
Yeah, I meant to do that, boys. Don't look at the replay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. But that is a heartbreaker for crew because heavy investment with the ultimates. It was their buy round against another thrifty, and they dropped the ball.
And now they themselves push down to a thrifty here, crew. The positive side of it, the silver lining, is that Davies has his 3rd lockdown by round 8.
Yeah, that's... I mean, you just don't see that.
No.
If he ends up using it, I mean, by this point, round 8, we're going to be seeing, what, 4 lockdowns being used?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
At this point in the game?
They're not even farming the orbs onto him, as far as I've seen.
He's just been collecting the kills.
Yeah, maybe I've missed that. Maybe he's been going for the B1 frequently or something, but he's just been fragging.
Kesnet, usually going to be the spearhead for the team. This time, a lot of independence being showcased. He's not being set up on this angle. He's just lurking his way through.
And it is interesting, when crew cut noise like this, Leaf tends to rotate C.
Off angle for Jake. Doesn't win the fight. Damage done. There's a heal. It's there to immediately replenish. It's a rifle that's not retrievable up into heaven. Still needs to watch this one. High tide, safe plant. Now there's a lockdown, okay. In play, angle watched, Zelsis. Head ripped off. Are we gonna see just back-to-back thrifties? It's looking almost inevitable at this point. That prowess on display. Flash at the tail end of it as well, just delays just that bit extra time. Crew with all the control as well of every single extremity. Kesnet wants to go for a little bit more. Why not? Assistance from his team brings them all down. It is the back-to-back thrifties, Josh. This is just bonkers. This is just bonkers.
And now you've got Cloud9 on a thrifty as well. And we've seen what they've done in the past. I don't think we're going to see these teams win a gun round for the rest of the half. It's ludicrous. It's a ridiculous game on Lotus so far, but it favors crew. The back and forth, and the fact that it's, you know, it's a bit scrappy and chaotic is definitely leaning heavily towards the underdog team here. Davies, 16 kills in 8 rounds.
Close. Oh, it's a double space. Well, almost lined themselves up, but it is very good. Regimented with the peak, taking out 2 of the players, and it's typically where you see teams fall short, not being able to trade out effectively when Cloud9 maybe get that opening pick, but no, this is really quite nicely contained.
It definitely is.
No dodging time there from Nags, but yeah, team's got his back, don't they? Look at that firing line. Waiting in spawn, denying the chance of picking up the rifle, but they do have to give up that space at some point, so Zelsis should be able to pick up an upgrade. Kesnet's still watching.
KRU are definitely ready for this kind of stuff, though. Obviously, Nags gets caught out by the pop flash play, but the fact that all 3 of those B players drop back, waiting for Cloud9 to push, rather than taking those 2 kills and immediately going to plant on B, shows that KRU are really trying to slow the pace down and find these avenues, the openings.
He's desperate for this rifle. That is the widest swing in the world. I mean, it's just gone on a marathon. He's like, please, just let me pick up this gun. But no, it's watched. KRU, very good awareness.
And they're up to 6. This is already a really good half. Normally, Cloud9's ability to play with the Neon and rotate and be preemptive against every team they've faced on Lotus has worked. It's always worked. And here, that slightly slower style from KRU is almost baiting out the rotates. But frankly, I mean, look at MC's face. Listen, if this was earlier on in the season, you would not be seeing that reaction.
No.
So I think that tells you a little bit about the attitudes coming into the game. Again, remember, for all the stuff that we hyped up, like Cloud9 can potentially take the #1 seed, they would also need Leviathan to beat Loud.
Yeah.
And that has not looked likely recently.
Double face, double fight, taken towards it. Zephyr swings to just return it. So it's a 4 versus 4.
Toxins going up.
Early skirmish. And either way, through this time looking for a bit of exploration towards C as well. Only Rooney left to watch this one, and it's again KRU just contacting. This time though, Reckoning doesn't clear this corner. Smoke in the face. There it is, landing a shot, snakebite as well. That rebounded, he kicked it. It didn't even vulnerable anymore. Still, eventually applies it, but Melzer, he returns.
Look at Nags. Look at where he is in spawn currently.
Oh, I mean, are you going to anticipate this ever? Well, lockdown.
But also, Melzer can't get the spike down at this point because he's got nobody to help him, and a lockdown in his face. Thankfully, because Nags is feeding him all of this information about the positioning of the defenders, he can just full rotate to A, and now Nags left to contain. The Cloud9 anticipate it at all?
Get cleared. No one's watching it. Jake's looking behind, expecting it.
Great look.
Through mid. Great look. Time is taken. KRU leading.
Now, here's a bonkers stat for you, Bren. Leaf now has 4 first deaths. He's 2 and 10 on the Neon currently. That is just so different from what we've seen. And with that 4th first death, KRU now holds the record for the team that's killed Leaf's Neon first the most on Lotus. Every other team that's played against Cloud9 on Lotus, they can't stop this guy. Leaf is taking first engagements and rolling them over. He was 5-1 against MIBR, 8-3 against Leviathan. Right now, he's got his 4th first death. I mean, it's been a very, very different game from Cloud9 here on Lotus.
A rare drop in performance for him so far.
And yeah, it doesn't really matter for their season if he does poorly here, but you don't want him slowing down going into playoffs when he looks like the best player in Americas.
And again, it looks like KRU have a great read on how Cloud9 want to be playing when they've got the Stingers in their hands. They're so proactive with how they want to fight over a significant area of the map as well, and they are just chasing them down. They absorb the aggression, they take a better fight, and they hunt them down when the retreat is active.
They're navigating the aggression from Cloud9 very, very well. And they're also baiting the rotates out quite nicely too. This is definitely going to be one where, you know, if KRU are able to get the victory here on Lotus and close things out with the way that they're playing, it looks like they could. People are going to be scratching their heads a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Cloud9 look like the best team in Americas on this map. And maybe they will be when it comes to playoffs too. Hard to tell with games like this.
One enemy remaining.
Double face. Nice movement from Zeppa, but
As far as duels
not
go,
anticipating
not bad.
Melza swinging from that particular direction. So 8-3. One more
Last
round in this half.
round in the half.
KRU. This is an absolutely blitzing pace, isn't it?
It really is. Because when you're able to win these first engagements so often, it unleashes Kesnit. Normally, Kesnit feels like he has to carry in the first opening moments. He throws himself into difficult situations to try and put his team into a 5v4. And he actually only wins them about 45% of the time. He's not great in the first fights, even though he takes them all the time. But when you play slow like this, and then he can use the mid-round, he and Davies are farming.
Davies has gone off. Watching for the C push here, but there's going to be this brawl occurring towards Ruins in the smokes. This way. That way!
Two!
No way!
He got two! Ridiculous!
Lined them up. Pure luck. Flip of a coin. And it's a huge advantage.
He goes in there and dominates the smoke very early on. And look, KRU don't use those 2 picks to try and explode into a different area of the map. They know that there was another player around here, and they're going to make sure to clear out Jake first.
Jake has got so much to do in this position, but you know, when this first fight gets taken, there's going to be 2 more players behind it, just like that. Trailblazer, the double face, the double swing, Kesnit. I mean, kill after kill. Snakebite though, drop down, that's going to be all of that, the Viper's Pit, just to try and push them away here. Rooney commits that one, but look at his positioning. I mean, he's given up already because he knows that they're trying to take the B side. This pit will be falling, and 40 seconds still left in this. High tide, blocking. All that vision, Cove. Still holding the smokes though. Ensuring that nobody pushes through it. Get themselves into that post plant.
One enemy remaining.
At this point, KRU slam dunk set up for that 9-3. Zelsis would have to pull off a miracle, not happening in the slightest. Domination from KRU. The first half here, setting themselves up.
Switching sides.
That potential map 1 win.
A spectacular start to this match from KRU. Everything they tried went well, and Cloud9 could not get a read on what was going on.
No.
They were sending it into smokes, going for pushes. It definitely felt whimsical from Cloud9, but in a way where they got their wrists smacked every time they went for something.
Yeah, really, KRU just doing an amazing job of punishing all of that. But first half is going to be wrapped up here for Lotus. I mean, MCE. Laughing earlier, feeling the frustrations now, but we've got Valen down at the telestrator as well to break down a specific play.
Thank you so much, Brennan Sideshow. I wanted to break down round 5 from Cloud9. Let's start off by looking at the mini-map here. They have a perfect setup. They have a deep turret at B, so they know if they have any B control, and Zelsis can play towards the stairs to cover the lurk here. They have a deep 5-stack in A, not showing any numbers, so for KRU, it looks like an empty bomb site. All they see is this alarm bot. So when you go into the round, my bad. When you go into the round here, you see that KRU decides to go into A, and Kesnit dies on the entry very fast here. So it's actually very good mid-rounding from KRU to pivot back into B. I actually like this call from them, but the proactive Cloud9 is already on the rotate back into B. And you see that it's Zelsis and Jake here, because they're trying to control ceiling to drop this Killjoy ult in a second. So here that you think that KRU has B, they seem comfortable in the post plant, but that's when Zelsis comes into C-Link and decides to drop this Killjoy right here, pushing them out of B. And I think it's another great mid-round call from KRU to decide to pivot into C here. But what we see from Cloud9 is that they're already on the rotate to C, and because they're so fast with the Neon and all the rotations, they're here to flood. So KRU thinks that they're in an open C site, they flash, they know one, but the whole entire Cloud9 team, besides Rooney's here, Davies has to trade his ult, but the trades come out, and Leaf and Zeppa have a phenomenal round at stairs, so they get all the trades. And Davies is trying to do his best here. He gets multiple kills, but Zeppa's just too good with the stinger. So it kind of shows how Cloud9 pulls out all these thrifty rounds. They have a 40% thrifty rate, and it's because they're so good with the stingers. It comes down to a 1v1, but Nags just couldn't close it out. And yeah, I mean, Cloud9's looking like a phenomenal team on the thrifties, but they need to pick up the gun rounds because right now they're down 9-3. Very uncharacteristic from them, but they're doing pretty good in the thrifties still. And it's because of Zeppa and Leaf on the stingers. But yeah, let's go back to Brennan's Sideshow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Valen. Yeah, I mean, highlighting that, a lot of the strengths of Cloud9 really did showcase, but yeah, the only rounds that he ended up picking up in that half really off the back of, the pistol and the thrifty wins, it was those gun rounds, as he mentioned, that really need to get picked up here. But we're heading into the second half. KRU on the defensive side, typically, I will, listen, throw a bit of cope out there. Map trends a bit attack-sided if you are a Cloud9 fan.
Yeah, a bit. Not usually 9-3.
And so this is a difficult task indeed. Leaf, first contact, first fight taken. But it's a battle, a brawl. But backing away here, KRU get chunked down there. A lot of that decay damage. Healed up, I believe, as well there by Klaus. Already making moves. It's a quick, agile adjustment. Trailblazers are now going to be clearing into the C site. They spot, I believe, 3 players, really high value off of that one, and they know that it's going to be cleared out most likely. So site can be taken by Cloud9 now.
I love this call from Cloud9. They saw 4 players pushing out B, and then they see 3 in Waterfall. Means they can take C for free. They also hear no killjoy utility. Whereas usually those 4-1 pistol rounds are going to be leaving you KJ. That's a headshot onto Rooney, though.
Yeah. Chunked down into the post plant.
They're going for Waterfall aggression,
really proactive.
actually.
They want to fight this. Cove, though, to try and get the entry into the site. That's KRU just layering that one down. How do they want to push through this one? High Tide, interesting. Splits up the site into 2 areas. Jake, he's going to hold this one down. He's going to know he's being pushed and pressured. 2 remain still. Celsius, last one left, last one standing. Finalizes it. So, it's going to be that pistol round game for Cloud9. Maybe the start of something. Bit of momentum that they can get onto their side. Now, they won the pistol in the first half as well. Par for the course. Just got to keep it clean throughout.
Yeah. I don't want to see a 9-3 curse here, Brent.
Yeah?
I don't want to see it. KRU played so well in the first half. Davies and Kesnit were absolute monsters. They've had such a trouble this entire season with closing games out. I don't want to see it again.
It can't happen again.
And I'm saying that early because of the quality of Cloud9, right? If this was 2 teams that have been at similar levels throughout the split, then obviously KRU is still massively favored. But so far, they have been the better team today. And as Cloud9 takes a mount control, there are 3 players here waiting to collect.
Into the back of the site. Heavy amount of bullets there with a right click. Leaf drop down. Davies is there. Shorty up close through the choke point. Flash. It's a good connection. Yet Zeppa. Oh my goodness. Makes a stinger look like a rifle. Never seen somebody get so many multi-kills with that one. Kesnit going to do his best now to see if he can do any more damage to the economy, but they'll fall. 3 players surviving here for Cloud9. Get the plant money online as well, so leading into it should be a relatively strong bonus.
Leaf just keeps getting abused in these entry positions. He's 3 and 14 currently. This is going to knock his stats down significantly. He was sat up at the top of Americas. But even on the entry here, Davies' classic right click, just all of the bullets were magnetized towards Leaf's body and he ended up falling down. And now we see a rifle round. Cloud9 have not won any of these. They won 2 pistols, an anti-eco, and 2 thrifties.
They're actually just investing into this one. So it won't be a traditional bonus, not keeping that economy in check. Fighting it. Skirmish towards ruins. Exchange of the bullets here as the Viper wall is going to be giving a bit of a pause and a break. However, door opens. Was that Kesnit open?
Yeah. Kesnit just ran forward, opened the door, and backed up like, come on, push me.
Okay. He's feeling confident. Smoke to split it up, though. Dog's going to be meeting each other's gaze and walking right past each other. Now the Seekers. This is a play. See if they can try and fake that they are trying to hit into that A site. The rest of the team grouped up now, moving forwards through onto the B site. That's Cloud9 taking that space. Heaven control is going to be theirs. The plan's going to go down without anything to really push this one back. KRU are giving them a ton of respect.
Yeah, perhaps a little too much. Cloud9 are going to be very proactive. And instead of fighting through spawn, they've decided to take this contest at the breakable door. 3 players around here, and Klaus's flash or his Trailblazer would be imperative in this spot, and he doesn't have either.
Yeah, they just used the flash to clear through into ruins, grouped up and sprayed down. Zeppa as well, holding down. Can hear the movement, can hear the evacuation attempt by Nags as he looks to hold on to the gun, but he will not get it.
There, gotta go.
No one keeping that one. Leaf has really just been the sacrificial lamb this entire damn map. He'll fall. Davies is being set up. Absolute world-class game in terms of the stats, padding it, but round win for Cloud9, leading. And the money broken for KRU, so drop down to the weaker guns here. Yeah.
The peak, I mean, is so funny. It's like Celsius in the first half, where he's running the marathon to go for the wide peak.
It's so wide here.
But yeah, this recontest back through from Crew, it doesn't quite work. Wow, really, Jake? Both teams invested into that round, so it's going to knock Crew down onto a Thrifty. They won a couple in the first half. If you remember, it wasn't just Cloud9. Both teams were going back and forth on it. Mostly off the back of big Sheriff shots from Davies and Kesnit. Neither of which have a Sheriff in their hands at the moment, actually. But they're going for that mound push. Saw this from Cloud9 a couple of times.
And there's nothing to really meet it other than the turret. No bodies to catch this push. Turret at Cloud9 now grouped up towards Ruin. So they rate the turret, anticipating there could be somebody behind it. They might swing off of it, but no, giving up that space. Opting fully now into the site. Leaf's already taken the back of it. But he might be meeting as well the presence. Sheriff singing there for Melza. Good kill to collect. Spike has to be planted, but a player disadvantage. Evened out now. Really being pushed onto the flank. Rooney will do his best here. Got the backup with the rest of his team as well. Watching a lot of those angles, Davies. This is a man unleashed. I mean, a performance from him we haven't seen in quite some time. Melza landing in as well. Now the player disadvantage swings to the other side of things. Cloud9, a proactive play indeed as they're trying to push up through into heaven.
He saw them both.
Another of them, and yet information granted. A tap onto the spike. Kesnit could have potentially got half, but he chooses to take the fight anyway. Leaves it to Davies. Wallbang, spam, through, headshot. No stun connecting, 50 health though, and a single bullet that might just be enough. Half onto the fuse, doesn't know where he is. Lands it anyway. Monstrous by Davies.
This kind of game from Davies as he secures a Red Bull clutch and goes up to who knows how many kills in the match. This kind of performance from Davies is the kind where it gets to the end of the season and they're thinking about a team reboot and he's locked his spot into the roster.
25 and 10.
Seriously, this is like a breakthrough performance. Unbelievable kind of stuff.
He is locked in.
And he's looked good when they've run him before. Obviously, he's been a pretty core part of this team in terms of, you know, how he's been able to reinforce the squad that's previously just been Kesnit basically fragging. He's had some great moments earlier on in the season, but definitely as Crew are struggling down here, looking down the barrel of going winless. Having performances like this is going to help your confidence heading into LCQ, and any thoughts about retooling in the offseason. Going to put your name at the forefront.
Shining light. Looking forward into the future, but
the double re-swing there from Cloud9 as they re-clear out this B area. There's 4 people here.
Focusing on the here and now. Making sure that they clear out that space. Lockdown is close. It's going to be swarming over towards the B site. Not too much to be used to try and clear this one. That's Kesnit making the most of it. Dash was active as well, so he was able to just play that lockdown. That little bit extra. The time paying off with that first kill. Spike, though, still going to get planted, so post-plant now for Cloud9. And it's a fight on multiple fronts here. You can see that there's that flank attempt. Rooney as the door's rotating around, just trying to take the fight towards the main area. Another lockdown in play, Klaus! Oh my goodness. All that proactivity by Cloud9. They'd love to just refight for some of that space. And it just bit them in the back. You can see fighting close, forwards, trying to fight it all together. As a collective group, while the spike was stuck, no opportunity for Cloud9 to fight it.
These players, where we've seen rough performances from them earlier in the season too, like Klaus, for example, suddenly look like demons. I don't know if this was the weight off their shoulders, maybe the realization that, you know, they're getting towards the end of the season, nothing to lose. Or the momentum of the fact that they're ahead against one of the top 2 teams in Americas, but yeah, whatever it is, these players are fired up today. They've come to play.
Timeout forced out of Cloud9, second one.
You know, it's so interesting, actually. MCE is going to have an opportunity to talk to his team. There he is on the left. He actually tweeted out some helpful cope for the Crew fans this week in the run-up to their game.
Sean was talking about it as well earlier.
Yeah, talking about how close Crew have gotten many, many times. They've had 12 maps so far where they've had over 10 rounds.
Yeah, it's 12 maps that they played close.
Yeah.
They've won 2 of them, lost 10.
Yeah.
And you think about how many they could have converted, but they've been playing teams close.
And now they've got 11 rounds here in the first map too, and looking like they should be able to close it out. Crew have definitely been able to take even the top teams close throughout the whole of the season. Just never been able to get it over the line. Here's another Cloud9 Thrifty. What do we think?
Well, I'm only seeing 2 stingers, so that's like, what, the equivalent of 2 rifles.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing...
Zelsis has a frenzy, that's the equivalent of everyone else's stinger.
Yeah, and then 2 sheriffs, which I
Those
think...
are like ops.
Those are like ops usually in the hands of Rooney and Jake, so it's a full buy technically. It's a full buy for Cloud9. Smoke's used, propped up, trying to push back. Force the utility out of Cloud9 so they can't just take that A main for free, but drop the smoke here. That's a very, very narrow angle. Kesnet doesn't land the shot. All that space taken. Paranoia pushing him all the way through. Klaus might have to be the difference maker. And he does indeed find his kill. It's Leaf unleashing it now. Ultimate in his hands. But Davies is still there responding.
It's crazy.
The spike is in the hands of Rooney. They have control of some portion of the site, but they are surrounded.
Running low.
Now that ult's going to be fading. I love this discipline by KRU, just waiting it out, knowing that it's going to be fading any minute now, and just as I say that, it does. Stinger in his hands. Leaf feels like he needs to take risks. Davey watching.
So sharp. So sharp. And they put away Cloud9 on another Thrifty and make their way up to match point. For all of those close maps that they've had, they've only won 4 maps, all split. Yeah. It felt like at some point during the season, KRU were always going to bring teams to 3. That didn't really happen towards the end. But this would be a major one. Just for the mental.
Amazing one to end your split on. Just give you that hope as well. Now 1 step away from taking map 1 against Cloud9. At times, this team have looked like some of the best in Americas. Now on that back foot, maybe you can argue, you know, some subconscious element heading into this series, thinking, well, we'll have a bit of a laugh of it. Doesn't really matter too much for the playoffs, but they're fired up. You can feel it in the player cams as well. Forward, a position taken by Leaf. He's able to capitalize.
It feels like one of the few times he's gotten a first kill.
It's a rare moment. Flash. Denying a bit of that space as well, so nobody can push through the rotating door. It's a game of timings, really. Op angle. Held so nobody can swing. Alarmbot spots it. Very far back positions being played by the Cloud9 players here. Zeppa looking to try and help out. Right behind the cascade. Smoke's dropped down. It is a gamble. It comes down to a bit of spam jumping forwards. Cleaned up, cleared out. Kesnet, last one left. Has to save with the operator.
And so that's the first chance for KRU to be able to secure a map that's fallen through their fingers, but many, many more still to go.
Yeah, lots of chances.
They still have another 5 chances to put Cloud9 away. This is only Cloud9's second gun round win of the entire map. I mean, that's...
Yeah, okay.
It's been ludicrous. And if you think about the season for Cloud9, we were just talking a lot about how KRU, they haven't won that many maps, but they've kept a lot of them close. Cloud9 have been the opposite. They've been blowing teams out, and they've barely lost any maps. They've lost 3 maps this entire split. 1 to NRG, and 2 to Loud when they lost that game. And both of those were weeks ago. And both of those are the other top 2 teams. You know, that's 2 of the top 3 in Americas. This is against the team right at the bottom. Couldn't be more different.
Circumstances and expectations. Leaf, this is a really heavy gambit. He's taking this fight. I mean, he's pushing through. He's not supported with the flash, but his team, they do capitalize. They do back him up. Bit of redemption there, and gaining control now of that connector. These B hits have been working for them. It's a double phase. 3, 2, 1. Here's the call. Davies, he must reset his aim to get it, but Zeppa is clean for it. Nax left alone now. 1 versus 2. Close corner. You do not anticipate this as the orb falls. It's a clear line of sight angle. Zelsis.
What a cool play. Hiding inside the Viper orb.
Yeah. You just don't really expect that.
No, that's a really nice idea. It works if they go for the tap, and it works where you can just drop it and kind of swoop peek out through Rooney's orb. So Leaf's gotten the first kill in the last 2 rounds, which wasn't happening at all earlier on. And they've started winning gun rounds. It feels like they waited for KRU to get to 12 before they turned on mentally.
Yeah.
Surely that's going to be too late, though. I mean, KRU had 6 chances to close this out. They've still got another 4. Surely KRU get across the line.
Can't let this one slip.
I've got your trail.
Grand chance to take a map against Cloud9. Not many teams have done that.
Wow, Zepp has used his Seekers here and opened the door to make it feel like it could be coming towards B. Then a lockdown invested, leap towards the back.
In the back of the side again, there's no util to support him there. He is just alone.
Not even his own stun.
Peeking it dry and he will fall. Lockdown though, that has to clear the way. Gotta respect this one. Backed away for KRU, one player detained. I believe that's Davies. Skipping and hopping away out of there. It's gonna be a Trailblazer instantly, but with the Viper's pit dropped down, this retake gets that much more difficult. Control being asserted. Cloud9 not wasting any time. Jake really pushing forward to ensure that nobody can push this one. That is really ballsy. And it does not work out, does not pay out. Zeppa though, still containing. It's being that next layer to it. 2 kills found. It's a 2-on-2 though.
Oh, the Nano Swarm.
Yep, and the pit's still up. The Nano Swarms are active. I feel like this is just winnable, even with the kills that they gave away. Rooney falls, and so does the pit, but yeah, time ticking. Spike dropping, Zelsis pretty far into the corner. And so, the number of opportunities for KRU to close this one out.
It's going down.
It drops by 1, Josh.
And it's now halved. They had 6 chances to put Cloud9 away, now only 3. Silver lining, Cloud9 used a lot of ultimates there.
1 enemy remaining.
But unfortunately, KRU are now dropped down onto a Thrifty, and that's going to allow more time for Cloud9 to generate the Seekers back up. The one player on KRU that might not mind this too much is Davies. He's heading towards our kill record in Americas, which is at 33.
Sane, well,
oh, well, not for this round.
You've cursed it.
Not for this round.
Absolutely cursed it. Injection of pace. Spike dropped down. Someone else can plan it. Not my job, says Rooney.
Big flank happening here.
Gained all the ground, and this flank is going to be really important. Moving forwards, there's an alarm bot to meet it. It's up to Zelsis. It's activated. So he now knows that they're going to be pushing this one, but he is alone. He needs help from his team. There's a snake bite. Util used. Flick of the wrist. The reaction dropped to 1 HP. Single shot. Healing in this moment, at this time. Okay. And okay, Kesnet reaches back into it. Got the knives online. Dropping it. Rifle picked up.
The other rifle's down in tree, though.
And this is upgrades abound. Door now rotating. Starts to really turn up the heat. Jake was opening himself up to the angle. The dash. He missed it. He whiffed it into the wall. Cove in their face. Spraying down. Not enough to do from Elza. Cloud9 is a little bit shaky, a little bit rocky.
2 chances.
Are we seeing this?
From 6 down to 2. And a timeout tactical taken by KRU.
Oh, no.
It really does feel like Cloud9 only started playing at their full strength once KRU got up to 12, which it's ridiculous to say. But the coordination, the entrying.
And winning the gun rounds, really.
I mean, look at this. This is like night and day compared to how Leaf was playing at the beginning. And yet, winning those gun rounds is the result of all of that. And this is going to get chalked down as another one of those close maps, right? We were talking about the fact that close maps where both teams are in double-digit round score, this should never have gotten to this point. KRU have such a problem closing out. They're 2-12. This will be the 13th close map that they've played throughout the split. It's got to be 3-12.
I mean, they've lost
3 out of
Josh, they've
13.
Lost 10 maps within 3 rounds. They have lost.
Yeah.
That's so, within, when it gets into that 3-round territory, that gap, you know, we're approaching that at a rapid rate.
I mean, we're already there. We're already there.
And so, yeah, question laid out here for KRU. And they battle against the statistics that we've been gathering. This team has not looked good at closing out some of these maps. 2 chances now, Cloud9.
They have the tools to do it. There's only Seekers available for Cloud9. And Zeppa's been very good at calling mid-rounds based off the information that they get on those. This looks like the round might be decided in the first 10 seconds at B.
It's a brawl. It's a brawl to be taken. Stacked up with the players. Trailblazer spots it out. What's going to occur? Flash deep round the side leaf. He falls again. So many first deaths. The wider swing, the wider fight taken. Cloud9 looking to salvage it. Zeppa. Oh my goodness. Earning the paycheck with that one.
They win the brawl. Shaky, difficult, but the trading ended up being there despite Kesnet taking Leaf out at the beginning. Now Davies with 28 kills, the player who has been so fantastic for KRU on this map, has an opportunity to win a 1v2 and close things out. But my God, is it going to be hard.
Oh, he's got so much to do. He's miles away. It's going to take a good 10 seconds off the clock that he otherwise would have had to play. And Cloud9, they'd love to do this. There's a flash up towards heaven. They clear it out towards stairs. And you know they're going to have that discipline. It's going to take magic.
Alarm bot.
Alarm bot behind just in case he gets pushed. Time running out. He doesn't know where they are. And yeah, crossing the angle. Wide. Has to do it. Timer's running low. It's collected. And it's now come down to this, Josh. One round.
Like us, but...
One last chance. I can't believe KRU went for... I can't believe Cloud9 went for this. When the Trailblazer died immediately, I thought they were just going to bail. I thought they were like, all right, well, KRU are stacked up here. We won't challenge it. No, they choose to fight that one fully. And it's a bit of a mess of a buy, a Guardian and a Bulldog towards the final round, but a lot of ultimates. And they're going for the same thing again.
All over the place. They want to try and fight it again. Surely not. Clashing.
Reckoning!
The Reckoning!
Off the rip!
Offloaded. You're not going to have that one for any sort of retake. And of course, the call gets made by Cloud9. They're like, guys, let's get out of here. We're getting ult for that. Small piece of util used, but it's the threat of it. Cloud9, no strangers to having the confidence to take those fights to them. They thought that they were really going to be barreling through.
Poison's off.
But it's slowed down, take a bit of a breather here. A lot going to be hinging on this round.
And Zeppa literally used Seekers in the previous round, got a 3K, and now he's going to have them online again.
Yeah, farming up the orbs.
It's crazy how good this ult is on a 3-site map like Lotus.
Pushing forwards, lines them up, clearing its way through. Seeker's going to be used in response to this as well by Klaus. One of them going towards C, so they got to know that it's in that direction. As Cloud9 look to try and pivot. Oh, this could be it. I mean, a snakebite at their feet. They actually can't get into this one. Wall, fast lane, that's right through it. Spam! An angle found as Leaf. Again, first one to fall. And the rest of the team, it's KRU grouped up. Surely this is it. The slam dunk finish. All the kills got away. No way! No way!
One enemy remaining.
They lined them up. They didn't know where they were. It's a classic play from Cloud9, a strength of them that rears its head. Playing off of each other, the trading is immaculate. Lockdown earn, round the side, it's up to Davies. He's been immaculate. But immaculate doesn't win it against that. The double phase, bringing it to OT.
Switching sides.
That's 6 chances squandered, 6 rounds in a row lost to take this game into overtime. I'm telling you, Cloud9, they just looked so different once KRU got a round away from winning. The manner in which this map has played out makes me more scared in Cloud9. They were out of it completely and then just decided to turn it on, and suddenly they won every round.
It's just going to be another tally in the stats. Another close map loss for KRU when you had so many chances. 6, I believe, is what they started with.
We were talking about Davies maybe hitting the kill record, which, by the way, is 33 from Aspas in an OT game. Well, Zeppa's up towards 28 now.
Equalized with him. Might be able to steal that record. Looking set up for it. This is Cloud9. Pushed up deep towards A main here. KRU now also exploring. A couple of bullets sent flying towards B, but not actually breaking any of the Killjoy utility. They've taken a pivot towards C now as well with the rotating door. Nags is being pressured.
He saw everything.
Yeah. Saw 3 of the players. Is there a call to be made? No, I mean, KRU not willing to really push through that and take that space.
No, and that's a strange one too, because they just used High Tide and Cascade, which would have given them an entry capability into C, and they decided to back off and re-clear. It was working well for them in regulation, this strategy of playing slowly and re-clearing the map. So now Jake's going to be under pressure.
Stun, paranoia. I know where Jake is, has to drop off this.
Only
still holds it.
And there's only 40 seconds left here, and this is where things start to become a bit dangerous. During regulation, they were getting these picks. They were re-clearing the area and, you know, killing Jake or killing Leaf here and being up a player. It's not the case now. 30 seconds
left.
Options are limited. When the time gets down to this point as well, I mean, you're trying to work your way through A. You have so many layers of the util to now try and get through. The call is made is going to be, but they didn't break any of that Killjoy setup before. It's still there, it's still active, it's still onto the side. Nags, movement to the side.
10 seconds.
Takes out Zed for 10 seconds. Nanoswarms breaks it. Plan has to be done, close to the corner. We'll get this one down. It's up to KRU to cover his back. Make sure they get into it, and they do indeed. Kills now flowing. Kill feed filling up with red. Rooney, tap dead, following the traces. Finds it. Stun being dodged as well on top of it. Zelt's around the side. Melza still there. Watchful eye. Teammate with his back, and so KRU. I'm hearing the Vamoses from across the stage.
Yeah. Or they win another attack round. But they could just not get it done on defense. They won 3 rounds, 3 retakes, and then lost 6 in a row. So KRU, we've seen them with... This is now their 7th match point. Map point. 7th map point. And they still haven't won. They've got to convert here. They can't be giving Cloud9 more chances.
Not again.
Another clash up B.
Not again. Another brawl. Flash connects. Counter flash swinging. Why you got your knife out, Klaus? What's going on there? It's fallen to pieces. Leaf, of course, he claims it's 2. He wants a 3rd. Tap, tap, into the pit. It's Jake who finds it. Huge player advantage. And at this point, Cloud9, you can slow it down. Don't have to fight off of that. You can wait for this Viper Wall to go down, as it does. Nags is given a timing. An off angle now. Had to be massive. But again, left up to Davies.
And I feel for him. He had a 1v2. He had a 1v3. And now he's got a 1v4. And he's always just the last player alive. KRU have gone into desperation territory with their defense, where they're just trying to push and leave Davies anchoring one of the sites on his own. And it just leaves him in these unwinnable spots. He was on such a heater at the beginning of this map. And they've done nothing to empower him.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a gamble.
And help his whole hand.
Such a gamble.
Straight to the body of Zelsis there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to bait a couple of shots here. But look at Cloud9. I mean, they're not going to give anything away here. It's a high-low setup. One player takes contact. They're going to be swinging from multiple directions. And so another round of OT, Josh.
Switching sides.
The 7th map point that KRU have let slip away.
On the bright side, Davies getting close to that kill record. Buys a bit more time.
What is going on there in that moment?
It feels like the teams are just deciding, guys, let's settle this with a coin flip.
Yeah.
With this kind of gambit, this kind of gamble as well, just fighting so heavily for this.
But did they tell Klaus that there was going to be a knife fight in B?
I don't know. I mean... is it because he dogged to lead in? He had his knife out to get close onto the angle, dogged, and then as soon as he was out of it, he just wide swung.
And thought that his gun would be coming out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, very possible.
I think that's what happened, but... Yeah, it's when it gets to this situation, the heat's turned up, you can feel the opportunity slipping away to try and close out a map like this. Mistakes start to be created.
Cloud9 are doing the same defensive play again, but this time they catch Nags. It's a dry walk.
Yep.
And they know that KRU have been re-clearing A. KRU have been going for it every time. They don't react into Rooney on C. They have always tended to go back to A and re-clear. All right, this time, changing things up a little bit. And as that door opens, you see Leaf considering, should I be going C? Should I be going B? Gets into Waterfall so that he's ready for both.
Yeah, I mean, are they trying to fake like it's a B hit here? C presence with the spike, they're not making any noise, not using any util. I think they're just trying to walk this one in off of the B presence. But it's being watched for. I mean, Cloud9 are playing defensive positions, 2 at Waterfall, 1 at the back of the site.
30 seconds left.
Rooney, high ground off angle, spots it. Players are noted now. He's going to give the call for the rest of Cloud9 to start swarming in with 20 seconds left. They're not going to have a chance to really get this spike down the plant, and it comes down to the gun duels. The fight to be taken.
C. Last player
Davies again, last one left. Glide to the side, cuts up the crosshair placement. Cloud9 now at map point.
Switching sides.
Let's see how many chances it takes Cloud9. I have a feeling they'll convert before they get to 7.
And yeah, if you're KRU, you're kicking yourself. Attack timeouts called here. Reflect on what you need to do.
C. 1 enemy remaining.
Because it's another map where you potentially let it all slip away.
Okay, KRU have been trying the same thing every time we've seen them recently.
The definition of insanity.
They're just trying a 3 or 4 player stack towards B, and it doesn't make sense. I think what they're trying to do is very heavily deny that ult orb at the start of the round, but every play that they've gone for has failed. And at this point, Cloud9 are ready for it. They know how to dismantle it. They've got to be smarter. If Cloud9 are going to commit so many resources to that ult orb at the start of the round, then take a different area of the map. Go and fight over Mount. Go and fight over A. Or sit back and wait for C9 to run into you. There's many, many different ways of playing this. But are they going to be able to deal with the pressure?
Got to claw this one back. Got one chance to do it, to bring it to another section of overtime. Map number 1 in this series. So many chances that they've let slip by now, and Cloud9 with that fire lit underneath them. In fact, like as soon as it got onto that map point, it all started to come together. The gun rounds starting to find their mark. And here we go. Deep Flash doesn't connect onto anyone, so that's information gained for Cloud9 here. Farming up the orbs. Are they going to try and re-hit off of this? The orb leaves! He just claims 2! A refight again. It's a little bit delayed, but it's all over in the blink of an eye, just like that. Cloud9 take it. It took 1, but they do it eventually. The comeback all the way.
I asked the question, how many map points is it going to take for Cloud9 to convert? The answer, 1, compared to 7 that Crew had, and Cloud9 managed to dodge.
Added to the tally.
It's just ridiculous.
Added
Absolutely
to the tally.
Ridiculous. A ludicrous map.
Yeah.
One of the most absurd ways that we could begin a series like this. I mean, entertaining. Very entertaining. I don't even know what to think. Were Cloud9 playing very seriously at the beginning of things? Did they only decide to turn up the heat when it got to 12-6? That's what it felt like, but that would be quite ridiculous. You don't spot your opponent 12 rounds.
No, I mean, you can... I think you would go into a match like this taking it a bit more seriously. Cloud9, no strangers to a bit of fun, a bit of whimsy in their matches.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that did play a part in it, but it matters not even if it did. It wasn't close to begin with, but, well, Cloud9 wrangle it all the way back. They take map number 1. We're stepping away for a bit. Next, it's Dash and the Analyst that's going to be breaking it all down, so do not go anywhere.
He is currently unstoppable. True. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's Ye. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.